Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, to our advisor, Ms. Felisa Jill Marfil, and to the panel members. We are the Renaissance Aces, Aces of Change, and we would like to greet you all a pleasant day. In this video, we will be presenting our research study entitled Factors Affecting Stress and the Effectiveness of Coping Strategies Applied by Central Mindanao University Senior High School STEM 1C in their Academic Performance. Stress is a physical, mental, or emotional factor that causes disturbing tension to a person's well-being. In other words, it yields dysfunction of your body, your thoughts, your feelings, and your behavior. Stress is actually a normal human reaction. It is our body's response to many situations in life. However, we must not disparage this, for stress can eventually lead to serious mental health problems. Due to the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic, two learning modalities were introduced: modular learning and online learning. These were implemented to continue the education of every Filipino student despite the crisis. However, with this situation, e-learners were alarmed with their stress levels, for it increased dangerously to the point where they could no longer handle it. For that reason, this study is designed to review the definition of stress and its effects on humans' well-being. It focuses on the factor that triggers stress on students. Through this study, the effects of stress in emotional, mental, and physical well-being of Central Mindanao University Senior High School STEM 1C is obtained. This study will provide data on the effectiveness of different strategies in coping stress. The information entailed in this study will convey valuable information as reference of the students.
The goals of this study is to determine the cause of stress and the effectiveness of the different strategies that students have developed. Specifically, it aims to identify the factors that cause students to stress, identify and describe the effects of stress, and explain the effectiveness of strategies that students have developed.
The respondents of the study were the Central Mindanao University Senior High School STEM 1C students. There are a total of 30 respondents who participated in the study, where 11 of them are male and the 19 respondents were female. 5 of the respondents are 16 years old, 19 of the respondents are 17 years old, and the remaining 6 respondents are 18 years old.
Research instrument. Since the researchers cannot conduct a face-to-face survey because of the current COVID-19 pandemic, the researchers used an online survey questionnaire through Google Forms. The instrument was applied in data gathering and treatment of the results. The questionnaire of this study was composed of 3 parts. The first part was answered by yes or no, while the remaining 2 parts have choices. The questions focus on 3 ideas, which are the strategies of Central Mindanao University Grade 11 Senior High School Section STEM 1C students to cope up with stress, effects of stress, and the causes of stress. Data collection procedure. For the data collection procedure, the method used in this study was the survey method. Google Form was the instrument used in collecting data. The researchers sent the Google Form link to the respondents in their institutional email for them to answer the survey. But before the respondents answered the questions, the researchers made a short briefing in the Google Form about the general purposes, terms of the study, informed them that their answers were confidential, protected, and will be used for research purposes only.
For the data analysis, this is to identify the students according to the flexibility of their coping strategies. The researchers applied descriptive data analysis. The data used were collected from the CMU Senior High School STEM 1C students with the use of online survey questionnaire. The purpose why the survey is conducted is to detect the causes that lead to stress, the effects of stress, the strategies used by students in coping with stress, and the effectiveness of the strategy used in coping with stress.
Results and discussion. Stress is our body's response to any situations in life. However, Stress is not always a bad thing that we often experience. There are two types of stress: eustress, a positive stress, and distress, a negative stress. Eustress is a positive form of stress where it motivates and improves your work. On the other hand, distress is very opposite. This can be a short-term or long-term pain, fear, or anger that a person may experience. Figure 1. Factors that cause SEMU SHS STEM 1C students to stress. Figure 1 presents that 100% of the students said that it is because of schoolworks and or deadlines that cause them to experience stress. 43.3% of the students said it is because of the household chores. 6.7% of the students, on the other hand, said it is due to mobile games. 83.3% by being under pressure, and 3.3% of having high expectations and or low grades. The results show that schoolworks and deadlines are one of the major factors that causes the stress among SEMU SHS STEM 1C students, which greatly affect their academic performance. Figure 2.1. Physical effects of stress on SEMU SHS STEM 1C students. Based on Figure 2.1, 93.3% of the students said that they would experience low energy when they are physically stressed. 66.7% of the students would experience headaches, 23.3% chest pain, 20% upset stomach, and 3.3% of the students would experience a sudden panic attack, shortness of breath, and sleepy. The results show that majority of the SEMU SHS STEM 1C students would have low energy when they are under great physical stress. This type of distress can also be known as chronic fatigue syndrome. If a person experiences tiredness that lasts at least 6 months, a person may have difficulties in sleeping, experience muscle or joint pains, or even have sore throat.
Based on the results we have collected, SEMU Senior High School STEM 1C students would experience irritability when they are emotionally stressed. As we can see in the figure 2.2, 80% of the students would get frustrated when they are emotionally stressed. 53.3% would have breakdowns or experience mood swings. 83.3% would get easily irritated. And lastly, 3.3% of the students would experience self-doubt. While in figure 2.3, it presents that 33% of the students said that they would experience depression, 50% loneliness, 80% anxiety, and 63.3% would feel hopeless. It shows that the majority of the SEMU Senior High School STEM 1C students would have anxiety when they are mentally stressed.
The figure 3.1 shows the different strategies that the SEMU Senior High School STEM 1C students applied to cope up with stress. 80% or 24 of the respondents sleep when they are experiencing stress. 70% choose to eat. Also, 70% choose to watch their favorite movies or series. 46.7% play mobile games. 43.3% of the respondents scroll through social media. 13.3% play sports. 6.7% said that they read books. 3.3% of the respondents listen to music. 3.3% of them choose to read something. 3.3% answered to fix the problem that causes stress. 3.3% read novels and play with their pets. 3.3% of the respondents listen to music and do art. 3.3% said that playing instruments help in dealing with stress. And lastly, 3.3% choose praying as coping strategy to deal with stress. The figure 3.2 presents the effectiveness of the applied coping strategies of SEMU Senior High School STEM 1C students and their academic performance. 53.3% of the respondents said that their strategies were helpful and effective, while the remaining 46.7% responded sometimes. These show that the personal strategies of the respondents were effective and have helped them in coping with stress.
Summary, conclusion, and recommendation. Summary. As we conduct our research, the findings revealed that most of the students were stressed due to online class and too much use of gadgets, with percentage of 63.3%. Students also revealed that their academic performances were also affected by stress, gathering the highest percentage with over 96.7%. In terms of coping up with stress, our findings showed that 93.3% of students have already managed to cope up with their stress, and also 66.7% said that they were effective. However, others' strategies doesn't take an effect because they have gotten worse and are in need of professional help.
In conclusion, there are various factors that cause stress to CMU Senior High School STEM 1C students. It includes works or deadlines, household chores, mobile games, being under pressure, and having high expectations from other people or having low grades. This can have a physical, emotional, and mental effect on them. The effects of stress in their physical well-being were experience of low energy, headaches, chest pain, upset stomach, sudden panic attack, shortness of breath, and sleepiness. For the effects of stress and emotion, 80% of them experience frustration and others experience breakdowns, mood swings, irritability, and self-doubt. Also, anxiety, feeling hopeless, loneliness, and depression were the mental effects they experience when being stressed. As recommendation, students can learn how to manage their time effectively by doing a time audit, creating to-do lists, as well as organizing themselves. Having study skills such as making their own study guide and dual coding, which uses both words and pictures, will aid them in their studies and help them to avoid future academic difficulties. They can also utilize other people's expectation as motivation to grow, which can be beneficial to their development. Parents should watch their children's activity and well-being more closely. They may help children grow and prosper by supporting and guiding them. Avoid placing unrealistic expectations on their children, such as expecting them to achieve more than they are capable of. It could lead in a favorable shift in their attitude.